Hey you guys, this is Lizzie. This is a an unplanned live. I wasn't planning on getting on here, but I thought since I needed to do this, that that if I needed to do that I was going to do this anyways, that I would get on here and show you guys how to do what I'm doing. So Erin and I have talked about how, we paint furniture and we use a lot of chalk paint and stuff. And we actually make our own chalk paint. So that's a lot of times that's what we do. We make our own. We've been doing that for a really long time. Of course, we love using, already made chalk paint brands and what have you. But when we found that a lot of the issue with buying the pre-made brands, now there's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of the issue with it is that we do not get like the specific colors that we want, and sometimes we like to make our own colors, and so we make our own chalk paints to kind of come up with some more custom colors. But yeah, so I'm doing a project for Christmas. It's a Christmas gift, so I'm not going to do the entire thing on here. But I want to go through with y'all how we make our chalk paint. So if you pop on, say hi. Let me know that you're here. All right, so the recipe for homemade chalk paint is... You can hear my daughter playing in the living room. The recipe for my homemade chalk paint for homemade chalk paint, the recipe that we use. Now, I do have to say that because we know what we're doing and we do this a lot, we definitely just kind of know the consistency, and we do not really measure out. But if you are doing this for the first time and you're making your own chalk paint for the first time, then you definitely want to measure out your ingredients exactly. So, all right, so here's what I do. You need paint. I'll tell you a little bit about paint in a second, but you can buy these sample paints. They're like $3.96 at Lowe's, and they're just over in the section. They have different colors. They have just about everything you would need to mix different colors that if they don't have specifically what you want. But this is like a light blue, like a robin's egg kind of blue, and they're satin finish. So you need a satin finish paint, latex paint. These samples work great. It's exactly 8 ounces. So that's how much you need for this. So the recipe goes like this. It is 1/3 cup cool water. Now it has to be cold water. It is very important. Hot water will not work for you. So 1/3 cup cool water and 1/3 cup plaster of Paris. Let me see if I can get this in the screen. So plaster of Paris. You can buy, this will last a long time. It'll last a lot of pieces of furniture through a lot of projects. So 1/3 cup of plaster of Paris, 1/3 cup of cool water, and 8 ounces of latex paint with at least a satin finish. Now, I haven't found that glossy finishes really work as well for this, but satin definitely does. I wouldn't go anything lower than satin, like not eggshell, not flat. You definitely do not want flat. So just like this is by the way, this is the only measuring of ingredients that you'll probably ever see me do. I do not bake, I do not cook, so mixing chalk paint is about it. But I'm gonna add my dry ingredients first, and I'm measuring it out. This is 1/3 cup. 1/3 cup of my plaster of Paris. All right, there we go. It does not have to be perfect at all. So If you're just popping on, I am showing you guys how to make your own chalk paint. Then we need 1/3 cup of cold water. Do your dry ingredients first, wet ingredients last. So it's 1/3 cup. So now you're gonna mix this up. Now this is what I find works best for me. Doing the mix first like this before I add my paint. So you mix this up to get all your lumps out. Now you definitely can overmix. So be careful with that. You know, you don't want to get too crazy with mixing. Just make sure that your lumps are out as best as you can get it. A fork works really great for this. A plastic fork, an old whisk would work great. I'm just using this stirring spatula. So I'm mixing it up. You just want to make sure that it's kind of, it just almost looks like milk, I guess. I don't know. That's the texture you want. You do not want to overmix. So now I'm going to add my paint. So buy these at Lowe's. These little sample paint things. But I'm going to add my paint and mix as I'm pouring it in. And you guys, you do not want to overmix. You definitely can, and then it gets really lumpy and gross, and you're not going to have the outcome you want, like the consistency you want from your paint. Get it all out of there. You need all 8 ounces. Now, this paint right here, this mixture, this paint with a good brush. Erin's talked about good brushes before. You need a good brush. But this will do a 6-drawer dresser. No problem. If you use it, if you mix it like this recipe, I know it doesn't look like a lot, but it will do a 6-drawer dresser, at least 1 coat, maybe even 2, depending on what you're going for. You probably wouldn't need more than 2 coats with this paint. I think I need a spoon. I'm not getting it all out of there with this. So you probably need more than 2 coats, but you could only do 1, depending on your finish. But there you go, y'all. So I think I got most of it out in there. So like I said, it looks kind of funny right now. You definitely can overmix, so don't get too crazy mixing. You just want to kind of get your lumps out, any lumps that you see. And if you feel like it's too lumpy, then you can add a little bit more cold water, but do not add a little bit at a time because you can't take away. So don't add plaster to your wet paint. I mean, you can, but you might have some issues getting the consistency you want. So I'm going to add a little bit more water. And there you have it. So that's about like I want it. So I'm going to paint this drawer up. Don't overmix. If you're stressed about if it is not looking exactly like you want it to, or you think it's too lumpy, don't worry about that. It's not going to go on that way. Let me see here. I'm going to paint this jar, 1 coat of this jar. It's just a mason jar. And I'm going to put some paint on it. Some of this paint I just made on it. So you guys can see how it goes on. So I'm not using a great brush. It's just one of the cheap Walmart paint brushes. But I'm going to distress these pretty heavily, so I wasn't worried about that too much. But you can see how smoothly it goes on. So a couple of things to remember is don't overmix, because you'll get a lumpy mess if you overmix. Cold water, very important that it's cold water. 1/3 cup plaster of Paris, 1/3 cup cold water, 8 ounces of paint, it needs to be latex paint. Satin finish is probably the best. I buy the sample containers of paint at Lowe's. They're $3.96, and that, you know, this mixture will do a 6-drawer dresser, no problem. Maybe even 2 coats on a dresser, depending on how you use it and what finish you're going for. But as you can see, yes, it looks streaky. I'm going to do, since this is glass, it's definitely going to need 2 coats of this. And then I'm going to come through and heavily distress it, because that's the look I'm going for with this particular project I'm doing. But you can see how smooth it goes on. Now, something I wanted to tell y'all too that's pretty cool, where Aaron and I had our business together in Colorado Springs, we had something called a hazardous waste disposal plant. Is that like plant, Eric? Is that what it's called? So, plant, whatever. And it's where people would take their hazardous materials. So, TSP, Aaron's talked about cleaning the furniture with TSP before. You could find that there. You can find stain. You can find paint. So they go through all the paints that people bring to them. Just do 1 coat on this jar, and then I'm going to let it dry and do another coat. But they bring their paints to them to dispose of them. The people go through the paints, and then what you can do, like if you have a place like this in your area, what ours did was each household you can go, you fill out a form, and you're allowed 15 items on their shelf. So if it's a gallon of paint or half a gallon paint, now it's used paint, people have used it, it's what's left over, you know, you're allowed 15 items. So Aaron and I would go and we would get our paint from the hazardous waste place, and so we never paid for our paint. We literally just would get our plaster of Paris, and that was it. And we would use the paint that we got from there, and that's how we did a lot of our furniture to cut on costs. So if you have something like that in your area, look it up and see if they do something like that, where, you know, they recycle paint to other people. It's a great resource. Otherwise, if you're just wanting to do a quick project, you don't have something like that, I get these, like I said, they're $3.96 at Lowe's, and I mix these with my plaster of Paris. It's one of these with 1/3 cup water, cold water, 1/3 cup plaster of Paris. Mix your plaster of Paris and your cold water first, and then add your paint. And don't overmix. And that is enough to do like a 6-drawer dresser. So, like I said, I am just, and it does. It looks a little lumpy, but I promise you that when you're painting with it, that's not what happens. You can see it went on very smooth. And I'm gonna go back over that with another coat. I painted this one earlier, and I need another coat on this guy, and then I'm gonna go through and distress them. But yeah, you guys, that's just what I wanted to hop on here and show y'all, is how to make your own chalk paint. And if you do it and you try it, let us know. Let us know, show us. We like to see. In the spring, after the holidays are over, we are going to do way more painting tutorials, furniture painting tutorials, because it's what both of us really, really like to do. Erin does that every day for a living right now, and so she has a lot of great techniques and projects and furniture that she's going to bring your way and show you guys. And I have a few things that I'm going to be doing for family members while I'm here in Texas, so you'll get to see a lot more painting DIYs, tutorials from us in the future. I hope you guys have a great Christmas weekend. Bye, y'all.